All right, welcome to another episode of this wonderful podcast. Today, we have two very special guests, Travis and Amanda. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing great. How are you guys, man?
Good. It sounds like you guys have had a pretty big past couple of days, from what I can tell on social media. Is that right?
Past couple of months, dude.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. We got married in February. It was kind of like an elopement style wedding. And then we just had our reception with like all of our friends and Travis's family that couldn't come to the wedding. So yeah, we just got done with that. And some of our friends and family that were staying, we finally shipped them out this morning, and it was a great time.
We just spray them with a hose or something to get out? Or
Get out of here.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They didn't want to leave. I didn't want them to leave, but time to get back to real life.
Yeah, I can. I'm going to a COVID wedding celebration in August.
What?
Yeah,
Who's?
New Jersey. A guy went to actually when I was in school out there, and like they got married, I don't know, months ago, but they couldn't have anybody out, so it's like now I get to celebrate their love. I feel like I gave a gift then. Do I give another gift? Is that how that goes?
See, I wanted to ask you guys that. Like, did you guys get dressed back up again?
No, they did. I saw the pictures.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
been on.
We got dressed up again. I really wanted like mountainous background and just a couple different things in our wedding photos, and we didn't get them the first time. So I was like, well, I might as well just wear my dress again so that we can get pictures with all the family and then get another round of photos that kind of like make up for the images I didn't get before. So
A lot of people, it's like one and done for their wedding day.
That does make it convenient. I
Yeah.
remember my wife and her trying to grab pictures, and she's like, I wish I would have grabbed this, and this.
You
And
get
it's
two
like,
two tries at it.
You get 2 strikes.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, we got to I got to 2 occasions of wearing the dress, so it kind of like made the dress like half price, because
Sure, exactly. That's right. The cost per wear went way down.
I don't know anything about that, but I trust you.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably fair.
Hey, sorry to interrupt right now, but we got to thank a few of these sponsors that help make this show and this type of content possible. So here it is.
First up, Huntwise, our favorite phone app. You can get it on Android. You can get it on iPhone. It's the ultimate sportsman's app. It's got mapping, movement predictions, and social media content. So look them up on your App Store, Google Play, or whatever kind of phone you have.
Vortex Optics is some of the best optics in the world. All right, we use them all the time, not only for hunting, but I actually use it sometimes out on the golf range.
And in the podcast range.
And on the podcast. It's Wisconsin-based, so it's an American company. And also, they make a pretty slick clothing line. So if you want to save yourself 20% off on clothes like this, head over to their website and use the code BOGA20 for 20% off.
Yeah, next up is Vector Custom Arrows. It's an arrow company that we really love. Again, they're a Wisconsin company. You basically go to their website, you enter in your bow specs, and they create a custom, perfectly tuned arrow that fits your needs. It's a micro diameter, it's heavy hitting. We shoot them into tons of stuff. We don't break them very much, and they're delivered right to your door. Check them out at vectorcustomarrows.com.
All right, if you didn't know already, we are Michigan guys. So we like partnering with Michigan companies. So we are proud to announce that we are partnering with Prime Archery. And believe it or not, James, you're going to be shooting a compound here.
I'm going to dabble.
He's going to dabble in the wheelie bow again. So we're both actually going to be shooting the Nexus bows that are brand new for 2021.
You're 4. I'm Nexus 4. I'm going to be shooting the Nexus 2.
Yep. So if you guys haven't checked these bows out, go take a look on their website. They're awesome.
Nano grip. Just check it out. The grip stays warm in your hand. Huge deal. I get cold fingers, and I'm a big fan. Looking forward to it.
If you've been paying attention to the podcast and this show, you know that we are big advocates of saddle hunting. And the best saddles that we like to use are the Trophy Line tree saddles. They are top-notch. They fit really well. They're very adjustable. We've actually used quite a bit of them, and we found that Trophy Line is our favorite, mainly because of that. And if you guys think you want to get into the saddle game this year, or if you're looking to upgrade your saddle, head over to their website, and you can save yourself 10% by using the big long code Bowga Hunting TL10.
One word.
1 word, 10%. Go get yourself some discounts.
We work with another amazing Michigan company, Bivouac Bow Co., the makers of some of the finest traditional archery equipment that we've had the chance to shoot. I've been loving the mobility and the stability of their backland bow, shooting it for about a year and a half now. Huge fan. It's compact. It shoots like a longer recurve. If you want to get into traditional hunting, if you want to maybe upgrade the traditional setup you have, go to Bivouac Bow Co. Give them a call. Talk to Georgia, talk to Jim, and they'll hook you up with something pretty special.
We've all kind of been there. A few hard days in the woods, you're going to get a little sore. Things might not be feeling normal. That's where you can actually use something that's a pretty trendy product right now, and that's CBD. It's not cannabis, all right, so you're not going to be feeling all crazy.
It's hard to light.
This is hemp extraction, I believe it is.
It is.
It's
and
a
this
hemp
is
oil.
locally sourced, so it's
sourced.
pure and local.
It's pretty much an oil with a dropper. You drop it on your knee and rub it in just like any other ointment.
Or any other body part that might be hurting.
Yikes. But we use it. It helps. You save yourself 10%. Go to their website. 20%.
Yeah, 20%.
20%.
Bowga.
Sorry. Bowga 20.
And now back to business.
You got to look up here.
And now back to business.
Well, no, we're excited to have you guys on. I know you guys do a lot of hunting, but you guys met Jared in Michigan,
Correct.
Boyne Mountain.
Yep.
And so I have things I want to ask you guys about, but the first thing is, like, did you shoot with Jared?
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay, so it seems
Yeah.
like that's what everybody says.
See-
Did you even shoot there or just walk around?
I did shoot. I think Nate and those guys set up a time before I could jump in on it, and I had a workmate with
Oh,
me.
that's right, yeah.
So I was gonna try to transfer my knock time over to go with you guys, but no, yeah, we met up right on the range. We kind of talked very briefly about what you guys had been doing here in the past couple months, and I said we get into it. But I know James kind of has a schedule for these episodes, so we'll probably jump into it in a little bit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
make it up on the fly. No, actually, well, actually, before we jump in, why don't you guys just maybe introduce who you are, how you guys know each other, how you guys met, and some of the things that you guys do.
I'll let you start that one.
So basically, we have both been in the hunting industry for our whole lives. As you know, Instagram came about and stuff like that, social media, we both got connected basically through social media. Actually, we had some mutual friends and stuff, and we don't really have a super exciting story about how we met. We just kind of met through social media, honestly. And Travis actually became my personal trainer of all things.
Wow.
And so he was my fitness coach for a few months, and then we kind of just realized we were talking to each other a lot more than normal.
He was giving you a little extra fitness attention, more than his other clientele. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Smart.
the relationship just kind of progressed from there. And he lived in Idaho at the time. I lived in Montana. And so we did the long distance thing for, I don't know, a few months.
Yeah, wasn't that long.
And then Travis was like, oh, bummer, I've got to move to Montana. So
Nuts.
you're kind of you work it.
Yeah, that was a good plan.
It's a good work.
Yeah, I like
Good work,
your
Travis.
approach, man.
Yeah. Classy game.
yeah, and then honestly, like both of our career paths were like super flexible. So we both got to travel around a little bit, go see each other, go hunt to different places. Our first hunt together was actually a bear hunt in Idaho.
It was an Idaho baited bear hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we set the bait together with Travis's dad like a couple weeks earlier, and then we drove out to Idaho. And as soon as we got to the bait, Travis had a bear on the bait and shot the bear, and we packed it out, and it was cool. And then really from there, like just a lot of our relationship, the reason why we get along so well and the reason why we just have a lot of fun together is because all of the things that he's interested in, I'm also interested in. And we joke about this a little bit, but like people are like, so like what hobbies do you guys have that like aren't the same as each other? Like what do you guys do when you're not together? And it's like, well, we don't really ever not spend time together.
Yeah.
It's almost like we have to like look for hobbies
Yeah.
the other person doesn't like, because otherwise we would literally spend 24/7 together. So
That's funny.
and that's not always healthy. So
You need a break. Like Jared, I keep telling him, like, man, I need that space. And Jared's just always crowding me. I know what you mean.
It's like a handcuff. You can't just cut
Ball
it
and
off.
chain is the way I
ball
like
and
to think
chain.
of it.
That is a ball and chain.
Yeah.
But you can kind of tell like what our career path is. And
Well, I started out, I've been a hunting guide my entire life. So the lifestyle has just kind of always been the same for me. And then I kind of integrated the whole gym thing and did the personal trainer thing. And right now it's kind of, for me at least, it's how do I integrate the fitness into the hunting side, but do it in a way that nobody's really done. And I don't know, just kind of brainstorming on that, because being all, you guys know, being at the TAC event, you start talking to so many people, and especially us, living in Montana, you have a bunch of East Coast guys who are like, what do I need to do to get in shape? I'm going to Colorado this year. I'm going to Utah this year.
Great debate.
So trying to just figure out how to really help those guys without some just like generic workout plan. Here you go, like go do a million lunges and hike up some mountains, because that's
right.
So just trying to figure that out. And then we worked for a new camo company, and yeah, that's just crazy, man.
That's awesome. So fitness, you were always a hunter, but did you like get later on into fitness? How did those kind of come together?
Well, I was pretty young. I was probably 19. I was just a short, fat kid. And then one of my best friends was like jacked. And I was like, hey, bro, let's go to the gym.
Yeah.
And it took me like a week. And I think, there's been a few times in the last 7-8 years where I've had some time off. But for the most part, I just fell in love with it and just ran with it. And when I quit guiding the first time, he's like, well, what do I do? And he's like, well, I like to lift weights, so let's go be a personal trainer.
Sure.
I just kind of progressed, and now I'm in a world where I'm trying to mash both of them together.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that. No, it's a big, going out west is a big, especially for guys like us in the East. It's a big, especially the first time. The first time I went west, it was like, this is a little different than, the hills in Michigan, which are not very steep, even for hills. And so that's really, I've always kind of been interested in, there's like a couple parts of it. It's like, there's the strength and there's some endurance part, but there's like the lung capacity that is hard to prepare for. Like all the other stuff, you can run, you can lift and do all that stuff, but like getting your wind when you're out there, it seemed like that was what I struggled with the most.
See, I've always wondered about this too. Like, for us, it's a big leap going from low elevation to high elevation. But how is it for you guys coming from high elevation down to low elevation?
They're even faster.
Like, do you feel like you can just handle anything over here, or is it like different?
I've kind of noticed being in Pennsylvania and Michigan, when we were at the TAC event in Tennessee, we smoked it. Yeah. But we were in Pennsylvania and Michigan, dude, we got crushed. And I think it was the humidity was so high.
Yeah.
It was like almost too much air. You almost felt suffocated half the time.
The air's like thick.
Yeah.
I don't know how
it's very thick.
It's thick. Well, you should be here right now. It is, because it's been raining on and off.
It is. Swim in it right now.
I feel like I'm always sticky. I'm sticky right now. You look sticky.
Sweating right now. I'm sweating.
By the end of the podcast, he'll have just big. He gets them right under his bra strap, and it's kind of gross.
But I mean, like muscular wise, the legs could have gone for 10 miles, no problem. I don't know. It was just uncomfortable, if I'm being honest. Like always wet, always sticky, couldn't breathe that well. It wasn't any harder or easier. It was just a lot different.
Yeah, sure. That's why we spend so much time at the lake here. Everybody's at the lake all the time.
Yeah,
I understand that. Like everybody that I've met from Michigan, they're like, I just go to the lake all summer.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sweet.
Yeah, that's the way you stay cool. You got to just kind of just lay in there, let that cool you down till fall comes. That's interesting. So yeah, for a guy like me, I've tried different things to get my my oxygen level better. Things like one time I had one of those masks, it looks like Bane, which I don't think
don't work.
No, I sold that to some other schlep, and I don't know, like what's the way? I'm sure you get asked this question a lot, but what's the best way to go other than just get there early and get acclimated to it?
As far as adapting to elevation, I honestly don't think there is a way.
Yeah,
I think you can push as hard as you want, in the gym or whatever it is you're doing for exercise. But if you go from 800 feet to 8,000 feet, you just need to give yourself a couple days.
Yeah.
I almost think when you make that giant leap, you should take 2 days and kind of train for it.
Yeah.
Go up, just mess around camp, go find a small hill, hike up it, hike back down, and just let your body acclimate, because it's not worth ruining your week-long hunt because you want to just dive right into it. I mean,
get there, get the pukes, and kind of be ruined.
Oh yeah, I've seen it mess them. I mean, their lungs fill up with water and blood, and it starts, they start puking it out all over the place. And I'm like, dude,
jeez.
Yeah,
it reminds me of a party we went to in college.
That was a good,
right?
It was a good.
That was Jared
party,
at the end of it.
Not for that guy, whoever it was.
No, that's an extreme case. I have personally dealt with a little bit of altitude sickness, and I've lived in Montana my whole life. And there was one hike that I went on with my dad, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, that I actually developed some altitude sickness, but we were at almost 12,000 feet and we did almost 30 miles that day. So it was like, that was an extreme case. And I think anybody, no matter if you're in shape, you're not in shape, our friend Joe Griffin, you guys might know him, he got altitude sickness too when he was in
No, did he really?
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, good to know. What a baby. What a baby.
Thank you. That'll be stashed away for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't really always think that it's a matter of like how in shape you are, because we all know Joe's a savage.
Yeah.
But I do think that, the more you can train and work up your cardiovascularity and maybe get there a day or two early and just kind of get your body acclimated, or maybe even just hunt lower on the elevation for a couple of days, or just spend a lot of time glassing and not walking around heavily, that could potentially help a lot. If you are going to be pushing a lot of elevation, like hiking a lot of elevation gain during your hunt, it might be smart to take the first day or two to not hike huge amounts of elevation, because that's the day that I got sick. We did almost 4,000 feet of elevation gain in one day, and that's a pretty significant amount of elevation to gain for somebody who's not used to that kind of altitude. So
So is it bad that I went like 0 to 15,000 in one day?
Planes don't count.
No. We drove up. This was back when I was in Okinawa.
Okay.
Or we went to mainland Japan, drove up to Fuji.
Yeah.
Mount Fuji. Started hiking at like 11 o'clock at night, and we hit the summit, which was 15,000 something feet at like 8 in the morning.
You just hiked all night?
Hiked all night. Because we just did it. It was 4th of July. We wanted to get up there and
just Marine style.
We just hiked up. So I was feeling it. I was feeling something. I didn't know what it was, but I was feeling something. It could have been the Johnny Walker we were drinking at the top, or it could have been elevation sickness.
Or both.
It was not. It was different. I can tell you that. I've never felt it before.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it kind of depends on the person. And I mean, there's a reason why when you go climb Mount Everest, they have you set up at base camp, and then they have you go up, and then they have you come back down, and then you have you go up, and then they have you come back down. Like there's a reason why they do that. Most people that come out west, I would say, aren't going to do extreme amounts of elevation gain. However, not being used to that kind of elevation, it affects different people differently.
Yep.
His family just came over from Oregon this last weekend, and they were up in the mountains a little ways close to where we had our reception. And the first couple of days they were here, they were like, man, I just feel really out of breath. And then by day 3, they're like, feel good.
Yeah.
Feel good now. So
that's how it usually goes for me. I get like 2 days where I'm like a little out of breath, or I kind of feel like I sleep not great. But then I get used to it. The first time I went out, I was kind of concerned because I wanted to get right out there and do some elk hunting and not be slowed down. So I didn't know any better, but I got one of those cans with and one was like minty and stuff. That's not real, right? Like that. Does that just psychologically making me feel better about it?
I have no idea. I've never heard of that before.
You've never heard of this? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
They're just like these little cans.
Compressed air, compressed oxygen. You just
So it was minty. Yeah.
Menthol or minty?
I don't know. It could have been. One was green lid, one was blue lid.
I would have taken like a green apple.
Oh, nice. That'd be nice.
Or a peach.
Ooh, peach would be really good. Yeah, that's interesting. So you guys, I would imagine you've taken a lot of people who haven't necessarily done a lot of Western hunting or maybe come from the East. I know you mentioned Joe out bear hunting this year. What's that like, taking somebody out from the east? Like how does that go?
Don't compare Joe to everyone else.
Joe is different.
We know Joe is Joe.
Those don't count. And honestly, Matt doesn't count either because he's so, like, his mental game is so ridiculous. Like, you can see at him and tell that he wants to die.
I love Matt.
Yeah. He just is always game.
He's ready for anything. Like, hey, you guys, we're going to go hike this sheer cliff.
For the people listening, Matt is kind of the photographer, videographer behind Huntwise. He like sets the look in the field, but we've spent a lot of time with Matt in the woods, and he is just like, I mean, we got him to jump in a recently unfrozen pond.
Yep.
And we dragged him like through swamps and wherever else, and he's
through
just
West Virginia with the Untamed.
Yeah, like bear hunting.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. So
he's a trooper.
So anyways, yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I mean, so those guys don't count. I mean,
Right.
they honestly, most days they were ahead of us.
Yeah.
Because
They also have like 6 to 12 inches of legs on us too, so
that
that helps. But during
I don't know. I think when you take somebody who's never done it, even if they're from here, I mean, the bulk of people that hunt out west, they don't necessarily go do the, big elevation gain days. They don't go hike 10 miles in a day.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are, they park their pickup, they walk in 3/4 of a mile. If they don't find an elk, they walk back to the truck and they do it again. And it's normally relatively flat ground. But I think the biggest thing with new people is just getting them to understand that they're not going to die.
Right.
Like, and that your body will give you more than you think it will. You just mentally, you have to be there. And there's like, it sounds ridiculous, but there's like a threshold of pain that once you get past it, it doesn't really exist anymore. And, I tell her all the time, a lot of times I'm better on mile 4 than I am on 1.
Sure.
Like,
Exactly.
everything's just blown out. My lungs are blown out. The legs have got a freaky amount of blood in them, and they're almost just numb at that point. And you just go. But there's that. The first 2 miles is always the worst. I don't care how good shape you're in.
Yeah.
So to convince someone that, hey, the further you go, it actually gets a little bit easier, is not an easy thing to do. But the guys that are like, I don't care, I'm just going to go and figure it out, those are the people that normally find success.
Yeah, that's life though, right? Like the
Right.
getting going is the hard part. Once you're cruising along a little bit, you kind of just you got some momentum behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know. It's always fun because you can see when that light goes off in someone's head.
Yeah.
Or, hey, it hurts a little bit and I might be out of breath, but it's not that big of a deal. And every time you exert yourself and expand your lungs, you're expanding your lung capacity. So every big pull up a hill you do, if you stop to take a break, your next pull is going to go better. And it's going to go better and it's going to go better. Of course, you're going to hit a point throughout the day where you've just exerted yourself, you have no calories left, and you're just like, But getting someone to understand what it might take. Once you get past that point, most people are good to go.
Yeah, and I will say too, like when you're doing your training for the hunt, like one of the ways that we kind of get ourselves mentally ready and hope like our clients and stuff that we train get mentally ready or mentally tough is like literally like when you feel like you can't do one more rep, do like 10 more. Yeah. Or like when you're on the treadmill and you're like, I can't go any further, you have to literally have that switch, almost like a trainer yelling at you, like telling you, keep going. Like you have to hit that point and you have to force yourself to go through it. And the more you do that in the gym, in life, whatever you're doing, that's going to help you on the mountain. It translates over, you get to that point where you're hiking up that hill with your 40-pound backpack and you're like, I can't take one more step, and you have like 2 more miles to go. That's take that, that one foot in front of the other approach so you can actually keep going.
That's a mindset you develop, right? That's just
mental toughness and muscle failure. You just got to push through it.
And we've talked about this in the podcast a lot, but that for a lot of people, especially that we've talked to, dictates who you hunt with. And because sometimes non-mentally tough people, or just maybe people who don't care about, getting out there and going really hard hunting, they don't mix always so well with people that do. And we've taken lots of people out like that individually and together, where it's like, man, this is driving me crazy because we
It's
both
not a vacation.
we look at this very
Get your ass
differently.
up, it's time to go.
You're going to be more tired by the end of it than when you went in. And so, yeah, that's a mindset. I would say that's a mindset that translates into all of life.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a I don't know. It's a fun game to play. Honestly, that's why her and I think so well together. I mean, I don't. A lot of people will ask me. They'll kind of like pull me aside and they're like, "Does she hunt as well as you do?" And I'm like, "Listen, dude. Like, I don't. She's not my hunting partner because she's my wife. Like, my hunting partner because I picked her over everybody else I've ever hunted with. And it's just a mindset game that you just have to be in it. I mean, there's days where we start going up a mountain and I just start dying and she just up she goes and I'm like, here we go. And I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm coming.
Here's the thing though. I will say like it's the other way around most of the time, but there are some days where I'm just mentally stronger. I don't know. That's all it is. It's like, okay, so we have friends that we've hunted with who they may be in a lot worse shape than we're in.
Yeah.
And they may be slower when it comes to hiking, but you're never going to hear them say like, I don't want to go anymore. And that's what it takes is like, okay, somebody might be slower than you, or they might not hike as fast as you, but as long as they're like, okay, let's keep going, or they're not complaining, or they're not, dying, as long as they get there and they have a positive mental attitude and they're ready to keep going. That's what we look for in hunting partners. And I think that's what he was kind of trying to say is like, neither of us are like, oh, I don't want to go any farther, or, oh my gosh, it's too cold.
Yeah.
And it's like a big thing for a lot of female hunters. And I get there too, but I just have to mentally push through it. I actually have a condition where when it gets cold out, I lose all the blood in my hands.
Yeah.
And my hands will like literally like freeze up like this. And it's super, super painful. But like there's been circumstances where I know like as his hunting partner, I'm like, okay, I got to just power through this because, we have an opportunity here. And if I'm the one that takes that away from him, he's not going to be happy and I'm going to be even more disappointed than he is. So, just little things like that. Like when you pick your hunting partner, you want somebody who's going to be as mentally tough as you, if not tougher, because it doesn't really matter how in shape they are, as long as they are willing to like push through the pain.
Is it Reynolds? What's the hand thing? It's called something with an R.
Yeah, that's exactly what
my wife has it. Yeah, Laura has that. Her hands get blue. Like you'll be sitting there and she'll just be, her feet do too. Her whole hand or whole foot would be like blue.
What causes it?
It's just bad circulation, I think. I don't really know.
Yep. And
I'm like, move your hand, man. It's gonna fall off.
Squeeze something.
It's so bad. And like sometimes like my hands will start warming up after a while. And when they warm back up, it's almost worse because then you get like this blood coming back to your hands and it literally feels like somebody took a shotgun and like shot through your hand. I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
But you could imagine what it feels.
Yeah, like tingly almost. Yeah. She's mentioned like needles almost feeling when it comes back.
Like somebody like jam the screwdriver through your hand. It's so bad.
Jeez.
Yeah,
but,
it's crazy. But it's I think that go ahead. Yeah.
Cold hands, like please let me know because I could go a lot longer if I
They make gloves.
What I found the best thing that's better than gloves are the muffs, like a hand muff.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. I go fingerless gloves with the hand muff. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
If only there was a camo company we could talk to about making a decent muff.
I know. You know what though? Speaking of, this mental toughness, I feel like that's where a healthy amount of shame comes in. I think right now, and this is just my hot take, but there's not enough shame. I think there should be a little bit more people ashamed of things. Like when I grew up, we'd go hunting and there was a level of shame that came with going in early when you were hunting if it got cold.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, no matter what, I just wasn't going to be the first guy because I didn't want the shame.
You
didn't want the like burning coals heaped up on me shame. And
that was a bittersweet though if you came in early because number one,
you're warm.
Yeah. But number two, you had to start up breakfast.
Yep.
And you knew that the coming shame.
Yeah, they'd be like, well, why are you in so early? Like, well, and you didn't want to say. I always
I lost my third toe. And
like, yeah, exactly. I was because most of this deer camp for us here in Michigan, it's like it can be hot or cold. Like it can be freezing cold. Really cold. You're just sitting still, which I know you guys don't do a ton of out west. But some of it is. So anyways, the shame, I thought they're like that was a good thing. Like now I think of it, I'm like, I don't want anybody to know if I'm uncomfortable because I don't want them to be like, oh, there's that guy that's, slowing. He's clearly, struggling. I don't want that.
Well, I think the way that you find like ultimate success in that situation is when you're super, super uncomfortable, you have to learn how to still think clearly through those situations.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in a position where it's -20 and the wind's blowing, I can use my hands and I know there's like a 5% chance that I'm going to kill a deer, I'm just going to live to hunt another day and go back.
Yeah.
But if it's a situation where I'm like, listen, we're into elk, I know it's god awfully miserable, but like if there's an opportunity presented, you always stay.
Yeah.
But if you're in your stand one day and you're like, dude, there's honestly a 2% chance I kill a deer, like sleep. There becomes a point where it's like, where is it like holding on to your pride and like there's got to be a sensible level in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, still go out tomorrow, and I honestly believe that live to hunt another day. And
I'm stubborn as hell though.
Yeah, same here. I struggle with that. I struggle making that decision because the whole time I'm like, because I've done it before where I went in once and I'm like, and I went back about half an hour late. I got down. I'm like, it's cold. I'm gonna push around and then come back. And I got down, came back, and literally in the snow, a buck had walked under my tree stand, sniffed because I left everything up, sniffed my ladder or my sticks. That's the word I'm trying to think of, and then kept going. And I'm like, seriously, it was 15 minutes. I could have been there longer, and now it's like I'll never forget that. That drives me crazy.
I think a lot of it's dictated too on the time you have to hunt, right?
Yep.
If it's a 5-day out-of-state hunt, like you're utilizing every second, no matter the conditions. But if you're on a 2-week elk hunt, it's like, hey,
exactly, marathon
evening to actually be able to finish this thing out. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into that side of it.
So I have to ask now. I'm thinking about this Eastern hunter versus Western hunter. Styles are different, but like you've hunted, I'm sure, with both. Like woodsmanship skills. Like, how do Eastern hunters and Western hunters stack up against each other? You guys have been exposed to a lot of them.
Yeah, I think it's honestly different.
Sure.
I think I don't know. For me, say I was doing like a public land Michigan hunt.
Yeah.
I think I would struggle a little bit because from what I've seen, it's hard. Landmarks are tough out there.
Yeah.
But for us, you look at a mountain, you're like, okay, that's north. I always know which direction that mountain is. So land navigation and woodsmanship, like if you have some common sense out here, you're pretty well good to go. But I don't know. It's really hard to say. I've actually never hunted out around you guys. I've never hunted in super thick, dense country before that's relatively flat. And the flatness is what'll always throw a Western hunter off, in my opinion, because you turn around and you're like, well, I can't see anything. I can't see above the canopy, and everything looks exactly the same. And that's where it gets tough, in my opinion.
Yeah, the cedar swamps of northern Michigan.
Start memorizing trees.
Yeah.
I know that tree.
It's like, but yeah, I saw it again. Dang it. But no, for us, that is a tough thing we've had where we've gone north to hunt, and it's like everything is 7-8 feet tall. It's swamp.
I'm not trying to dog on you when I say this though, but I feel like I do not have that problem.
No, you don't. That's handy. Actually, I'm terrible with direction. I'm not good. And so when we hunt, I'm always like, hey man,
we need to go this way.
Which way are you going?
We need to go this way.
And I'm literally almost always the opposite of the road. I'm like,
and there are literally times where we split.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And then I'll be waiting at like an obvious checkpoint.
Yeah.
Right. That I know he has to come by this spot to get back wherever we're going, and I'll just stand there and it's like.
Pride comes before the fall, man. That's why I'm a wanderer too. So I tend to just go and then like never stop. Like I just kind of walk around. I'm like, oh, what's up there? And man, by the time I'm like done, I'm like, I have no idea where I am.
Well, navigating out here, like general land navigation out here for us is really easy is like 80% of the spots we hunt, you hike straight up out of the truck.
Yeah.
So you may not always land right on the truck, but as long as you come back down the hill, you're probably going to be okay. And most places, like once you get into them and you've studied them enough on whatever, map it might be, a lot of these places will have ridge systems that are really consistent.
Sure.
Well, your ridges will run north to south, and then once you get to a certain spot, they'll start to bend into the west. And you can learn how to play off these ridge systems and be super mobile in the steep country. But you always know that as long as I catch that ridge that's headed south, it's going to shoot me towards my truck or to my camp or wherever it is.
Yeah.
Now, for backpacking, that's kind of a different animal. But just for, the general truck hunter, I find it pretty easy. Even if it's thick and dense, just if you're normally headed up or you're headed down, and that's going to get you safety from there.
You got huge markers that are just immovable. They don't go anywhere very fast, at least. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we've well, you guys have to come out east. Like we'll get you on some. We'll get you lost in a swamp. We're happy to do that.
Actually,
some chicken swamp oysters.
Yeah.
I don't know. When did Joe say?
I think we're coming out in October or November to Michigan.
I think we're going to come in October and hunt with Joe. Sounds like up in the UP.
Oh, he's got that spot. He was talking to me about that.
UP's a trek. That's some thick country.
It is thick, and the deer hunting is not like, for a while it was, back in like the 60s through the late 80s, it was like almost like deer mecca. Yeah. And then now it's just, they say wolves or like poaching or just bad deer management. There's a ton of different opinions about it, but it went down substantially. I think it's getting better from what I've heard. And I hear that Joe's spot is all right, but I don't know too much about it. So you'll be out at least. Because I wanted to connect with you guys, but we had kind of crossed paths as I was coming east from staying out west for about a month. You guys were doing the opposite. So bummed I got to miss you.
No, I'm just excited to see it because what I've learned is like everybody from where, Michigan, Pennsylvania, I mean, even places like Arkansas, we always get the same thing. Well, I know what you guys do is so much harder. And I'm like, listen, man, it's honestly a similar concept.
Yeah.
I hike a couple miles somewhere, I sit on a ridge and sit behind the glass until I see something to go after.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that we talk to, especially in Michigan, they're like, yeah, we hike in, 2-3 miles. And then we sit and I'm like, the concept is really not that much different. And I'm just excited because we've heard so much about it up to this point.
Yeah.
I find like heck with it. I don't care about the size of deer. I don't care about any of that. I just want to go sit in the tree and just see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Even if we kill a doe or anything at all, just to at least experience it. I will say, I think the biggest advantage or skill set, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, that I feel like Eastern hunters have over Western hunters is patience. Because you all sit in a tree stand for sometimes 12 to 14 hours a day. And it's like, it's hard for us to sit in one spot for an hour, let alone like.
Oh, trust me, it drives me nuts.
Oh, I hate it. We and the thing is though, we've kind of changed in how we approach that. Like, a lot of times we'll do things where we'll set up and a lot of times we'll be on the ground, right? Set up in the ground blind and maybe we'll see deer movement and then actually get up and move and almost still hunt kind of. And honestly, it's just because it sucks to sit for that long in the cold, just sitting there.
That, and you're putting so much.
Yeah.
There's so much risk in choosing the right tree, right? So many of the elements have to be in play.
Wind has to be right.
Everything's got to be perfect for that one tree. And if something happens, you're shit out of the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I've always thought about that. And there's too much risk in choosing a tree where if you just kind of hunt on the ground sometimes.
That's my biggest anxiety.
You can eliminate a lot of that.
Yeah.
By being able to move around.
You like get out there, you're like, that's a tree. It's a good tree. But like there's something I can see.
The thermals are going to drop here and the wind's blowing here at night. It's like
paralysis by analysis you get out there. It's like
it's the same thing out here. Like I said, it's the same concept. We're going to get to the spot in the morning and be like, man, this is a cool glassing knob, but if we hike an extra 15 minutes up the ridge, That gives us a bunch more elevation, opens up twice as much country. So those decisions go both ways.
Yeah.
But what's nice for us is if we blast for an hour and it doesn't work, we just pack up and move up the ridge.
Yeah.
You can always go. So I understand once you pick a spot, man, like that's it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's like we're seeing, and it's kind of the cool thing about having a podcast is you get to see where hunting trends are, where these people who are like experts, what they're doing. And like we've been seeing more and more where like strategies are kind of mixing. Yeah. So like a lot of guys like Bo Martonic, had him out on the podcast a while back. He's like kind of mountainy. Like he's the East meets West, or West, whatever it is, podcast.
East meets West.
East meets West. Hard to say that. Anyways, like very mobile, like you're moving around a lot. And like we've talked to guys who brought their tree saddle out to the West and
hung over a
water hole or something and like whitetail hunted for elk and like found success that way. So there's a lot of ways to do it, and there's a lot of shared ideas.
There's so much crossover in there, man. Like, if I'm stuck in my ways. Like, I'm always gonna hunt at home the way that I like to hunt.
Yeah.
We could go to an area right now with a couple tree saddles, and I guarantee you rips at 150 inch whitetail bucks.
Yeah.
It's not the way that I like to hunt, but if you brought that mentality over here to some of these creek bottom areas we have, the success you would have would be astronomical. It's just so hard to do as a non-resident unless you have 3 weeks.
Yeah, you need a lot of reps. Yeah.
Because our whitetail they're very patternable, they're very predictable, but you start to play that public-private game, getting permission, figuring out boundaries, that whole thing. I could see that coming in. Like her and I, we just scout all summer and figure it out. But for someone who's coming over here, it would be tough.
Yeah. For like anytime I'm traveling and you go through like Western Nebraska and like eastern parts of like Colorado, Montana and stuff, it's like, I mean, you just focus on the waterways. And I feel like that's where you find all the deer, because everything else, there's nowhere for a deer to go. There's only one thick or edge, which deer, we've talked about 100 times in the podcast, deer just love edge.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you said, it's like there's the private public kind of dilemma and figuring out, and just you need a lot of reps to go into a new place and be successful. And it's hard to, and like we've done it. We've tried it a lot where you go to a new spot, you give it 5 days and see what you can do. And it's fun, but you don't have the same success as if you had 2 weeks and you could really pick apart an area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really hard. Mobility is key out here. I mean, there's spots that we have that, I mean, you can go into an area, hunt it for a day and not see a single deer and go 2 drainages over. And the result you do was walk 800 yards.
Yeah.
And with so many deer, you don't even know what to do with this stuff. I mean, we see it all the time, and I don't know. I'm really indecisive. She's always like, dude, just pick something and go with it.
I always tell him to trust himself.
Yeah, I'm always like, I get this game plan in my head, and then I see the country, and I'm like, let's throw an audible out there and do something different. If you do that, it never works. So
you're always cheering them on, like, just stick with your gut.
Well, I think part of the reason why we hunt so well together, and it wasn't always like this when we first started hunting together, we butted heads a lot because we just grew up hunting a little differently. Still both Western hunters, but the way his, family taught him to hunt was different than the way my dad taught me to hunt. And so I'm a lot more like patient and a lot more like, okay, if this doesn't work, then we'll try something different tomorrow. And he's definitely like a next ridge kind of guy. And so like, so I would be like, okay, like we need to sit here for a few hours and just figure out what the best option is. Yeah. And we'll tell you guys a story of like how this can play out here in a second. But he's like, we haven't seen anything in the first 15 minutes. I think we need to go to the next ridge. Yeah. And so for a while, we got in a few arguments when we were out hunting, and he wanted to do things his way and thought my way was wrong. And I got mad at him because I thought he was being a little bit too like, too just moving a little bit too quick. Mm-hmm. And so, but, after hunting together for a few years now, we last season especially got into a really good groove with each other where like he can kind of like push me a little bit further, but I could also make sure that he's not moving too fast.
Yeah.
And so we kind of created this happy medium of just working to each other's, I don't know.
Yeah, it's playing off each other well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, when we went on that bear hunt with Joe and Matt, the day that we arrived, we kind of helped them find a good spot to hunt. And it's a spot that I actually killed my first bull elk when I was like 15. And there's lots of bears in there. And I'd hunted that spot for a lot of years. And then Travis went in and found a couple more spots in the same area. And Joe had been, hunting bears for a few years here in Montana, didn't have any luck yet. And we were just stoked to be able to hunt with him. And we kind of honestly wanted to hunt our own spot. So we're like, Joe, just go in here. Like, you'll probably find a bear. And sure enough, he ended up finding a bear. And he shot the bear the day of the evening that we arrived at camp. We were actually in Nebraska turkey hunting for the few days before that, and so we were running like a day behind them. And so they got there a couple days early and ended up killing a bear, and then I was basically up next. So they spent the rest of their trip basically trying to help me find a bear to shoot as well. And I think it was like the second or third day that we were hunting with them. I think it was the second day that we hunted with them.
Yeah.
The second day we hunted with them, we ended up spotting a bear at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So like pretty much right off the bat. And we watched this bear feed into this little like creek bottom drainage with a lot of like brush and stuff. And we were probably at least a mile away from the bear when we spotted it.
It was like 900 yards.
Okay, well, anyways, too far to shoot. And so we ended up just trying to watch that hillside. We ended up watching the hillside for like 14 hours. But Joe and Travis wanted to just like basically just barge into the bushes and like try to find the bear.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
And I was kind of just like, well, I mean, we know he's in there. Like, he's not going to escape because we can literally see every direction that he could possibly go. And so we kind of all just discussed and like made a game plan and decided that we weren't going to go barge in and try to.
So you won.
Bear.
Yeah.
And anyways, 14 hours later, we were all about ready to leave because we didn't see the bear. And this is where the Eastern hunting patience can come in. We were like this close to leaving, and like literally 5 minutes before it got like too dark to shoot, the bear comes walking up the hill. And I ended up taking a shot. It was like 375 yards or something. And we didn't find out until after the fact, but Travis's scope on his gun got bumped and the gun was shooting about 1.5 feet low. So ended up taking a shot and I completely missed the bear. But just little things like that, like working to each other's strong suits, having a partner that you can kind of discuss things with, and being patient, but also not being afraid to be, persistent or, going after something. Like, those are all really important things. But that's kind of an example of how like our brains work and stuff. And because of Joe and Travis, we were able to make a really good game plan on how to get within shooting range that second time that we saw the bear. So,
it's huge. That's huge for a hunting partner, like playing off each other well. Like we do that a lot. Mm-hmm. We have very similar like macro strategies, but then like micro things we'll do a little differently. Yeah. I would say I'm probably less patient. I got more ready.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm usually lost when we get out there. So that's like handy to have you around for that.
You abuse me?
Yeah, that's right. So you guys, you mentioned you're coming out to Michigan this year. What other hunts you got lined up?
So I think we're just going to do our standards. We were stupid and missed the antelope deadline. Deadline in Montana, which actually might be a blessing in disguise. So I think is what we're going to do is where we elk hunt, we can kind of cross over with mule deer pretty well. There's some good bucks that run around in there. Yeah. They basically all mingle together. So we can kind of do a crossover deer and elk hunt, and that'll consume most of our archery season. And then I think since we don't have rifle antelope tags, we'll do Michigan in October. And then I think, so our rifle season is in the rut. It's in November here. if everything goes as planned, which it probably won't,
Right.
we won't, her and I'm hoping won't have any tags left by the time we get there. And we honestly just want to take people that want to go. Like, I'll hunt with my family, we'll probably hunt with her family a little bit. We've got a couple friends coming in from the east that want to try the whole mule deer thing.
Yeah.
And this gives us the excuse to be out there as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
We can film, we can take photos. And then I think to replace the antelope hunt, we're actually going to go down to Arizona in January and chase coos and javelina. And
That's something I've been really wanting to do.
Shoot arrows, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah. And you guys, have you done that before, coos deer?
We're super fortunate. We have a good friend of ours who's actually from the area and is hunting that same unit I was looking at, and I actually think he's going to go with us. So
Oh, nice.
it's from what I gather about the hunt, and I might be completely wrong, is the hardest things to do is to find them. Once you find them, they're rutting, they move a lot. You can hopefully get lucky on a decent game plan, but having someone there to help us actually find the damn things, I don't know. I think it'll be fun, and then we'll hopefully draw a couple javelina tags with it.
That's a good way to spend a day javelina hunting, I've heard. Yeah.
We've also played with the idea very briefly. I'm like super gung-ho. I want to shoot an antelope with my bow. I've shot a bunch with my rifle, but I'm like, I want to shoot with my bow. Nebraska has over-the-counter archery antelope tags.
Yep.
So as it gets closer to the season, if nothing's happening around August 15th, we may.
I don't think it's going to happen between work and weddings and all the summer stuff.
You can work remotely. I think you should go, man. I'm on her side.
Mm-hmm. We can't work remotely. We are the opposite of working remotely.
Well, okay, we'll find an event to go to in Nebraska.
Bingo.
Yep.
There you go. Now we're working, and then we can take a few days.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's true. How long you guys been married now?
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah, they'll learn that. He'll learn that at 6 months. That's what you're doing.
That's the 6-month milestone.
Yeah, I'm on year 11. You're on year 5. Yeah. So we'll, if you need any tips, we can share all our mistakes with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're this year will be pretty laid back. We get to travel a little bit and hunt, but I think 2022, 2023, we're going to try to at least make one trip out to Alaska. Don't know if it's going to be like a black bear situation or a blacktail situation.
Nice.
We'd probably like to do that. And then we're looking at a few other things here and there. I know New Zealand's way up on the list. That's kind of a big dream bucket list for me. So we might think about that in the next few years. But other than that, we'll stay at home as much as we can for now.
Love it. Yeah, you guys have a good spot to hunt. Montana's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it works for us, and it's right in our backyard, and it doesn't cost us, thousands of dollars to go do it. And, I mean, heck, some of the spots we hunt are like 45 minutes from our house, so
yeah,
it works pretty well. Well, are you guys coming out here at all this year?
We have, what is this year? I am doing a bear hunt up north, unless I don't get drawn in Michigan, and then I'm going to try to get into Canada. And if they don't open the border, then I'm back to square one. I have no idea. We've got some deer hunts in Michigan, like the standard thing, we spend a lot of time in Michigan, a lot of time on public land in Michigan. And then we've got a hunt actually with Matt on an island on the lake. So you get a charter a boat. Yep. Yeah. And you get out there and they drop you off for a week. And so we're going to go before they have an open season where you get dropped off. You can use any weapon.
Okay.
Whatever you kill doesn't count against your tag, and it's like a population control because there's no predators for deer on the island. But we're gonna go before that just to hopefully beat the crowd, and it'll still probably be like pre-rut-ish right before Thanksgiving, so it'll be kind of heating up hopefully, and hopefully we run into some dumb deer because that's really our sweet spot is like the non-intelligent
idiots.
In your bow hunt now? Yeah.
So that should be fun. We'll do that, and I'm trying to line up a few other last minute things. I'm trying to get you to go on some. It's just you never know. For us, the plans are pretty fluid, and it's could be September, and we're like, hey, we're gonna go out to Wisconsin and hit the early deer season or something random like that. And so you got your set plans, which is hunt the rut here, and the rest is, you know, kind of up in the air. Hopefully Canada opens soon. That would be big for us.
Yeah. We're big into the waterfowl side too. So that's been kind of in a position where we're ready to go take on the whole Canada waterfowl thing. We haven't been able to go. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you guys do any waterfowl hunting?
I'm going this year. I've never gone.
Can't say as I have.
Going this year. I've been trying to get these guys to take me goose hunting with my bow, which I think would be really fun. And they're going to take me do some duck hunting. These guys, they have their own Instagram account. What are they? Duck. I forgot what they are. Anyways,
It's all you, dude.
And they'll go and they don't eat all their geese. I'll come home and they'll be like a pie. I had 15 geese on my driveway last year, and they're like, "Here, you want it?" So, like, they supply me with goose meat, but I've been wanting to get into it for a while. So this should be my first year doing that.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's a great way to like fill up that space in between hunting seasons. You know, like in between like fall season and like turkey season in the spring.
Yeah,
like December and January. Yeah, waterfowl hunting is a blast.
That's awesome, because historically that's when we're out squirrel, rabbit hunting, and sometimes like raccoon, like some night coon hunting, you know. So that's cool. Well, we're coming up on time, but you know, as people are looking forward to the hunts you guys talked about, you know, looking forward to seeing a lot of the tips and the cool things you guys share, how can they find you and just, you know, follow along?
Well, my Instagram is probably the easiest place because like all of our other channels are linked on our Instagram. So my Instagram is just Miranda.Hough, and my name is spelled pretty funky. So it's MARANDA.HOUGH. And then Travis has his page
and
too.
my Instagram is just Travis Huff _.
Nice.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it real straightforward. It's Huff. Told you, I was wondering how to pronounce your last name, and when I introduced you, I'm like, I'm just not going to say the last name.
I figured it would get brought up at some point in time.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, people think it's like Hugh or Hug or what did you guys think it was?
I thought Huff. I thought it was Huff. I just didn't want to be wrong.
Yeah,
we should have said right.
Yeah, exactly. I should have just, that's taking that chance. Well, that's cool. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on and just chatting with us for a little while. Hopefully we connect soon and see what you guys are up to.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you guys having us. And like I said, we'll be out in Michigan, and with the connecting relationships with Joe and Matt and the whole Huntwise crew and whatever else may come forward, I see us being out there probably pretty frequently. So we'll line something up. We'll have to have you guys out here eventually to shoot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, bye.